laundry day. What can I say? That's why you're getting the flannel today. Okay. So, Trial by Stone or Torn Soul? I prefer Torn Soul myself. Yeah, this is another example of the sub getting the point. There isn't anything really wrong with the episode in the dub, but the sub just kind of has this. The presentation of this episode is better in the sub, is pretty much the way that I'm going to play it. Not that plus Seto. So if I hadn't made the note at the 4-minute 36 mark, which was when the flashback to Yugi giving up his soul in the sub was, if that moment hadn't actually cemented the point for the sub, then Seto would have completely, and I do mean this sincerely, completely just tipped the needle firmly into the sub's camp without, and I can say that without hesitation or hyperbole or exaggeration. And I mean that sincerely. Otherwise, there's not much for me to really say about this episode. This is the episode where Rex and Weevil actually join the dark side, right? Which I have said time and again, I think works better with Weevil than it does with Rex. With Rex, I feel like the justification for him wanting to attack Joey is kind of weak. I feel like I've said that before. And with Weevil, it's literally just, yeah, it's literally just, it's literally just a matter of course, right? So Rex and Weevil hop onto the helicopter. In the in the dub, Raphael is just like, oh, fuck. Whatever. Okay. Fine. Well, these two losers have hitched a ride. Whatever. In the sub, he actually threatens them with a knife. Believe it or not. Which I thought was actually kind of funny. It was actually kind of funny because he pulls out the knife, and then Rex and Weevil in the, or rather, Haga and and Ryuzaki, I hate calling him that, but the subversion of Rex and Weevil literally started pleading like, "No, let us join you. We're former champions, and we want to help you," and yada yada yada. And Raphael considers it for a minute. Considers, because he was going to cut the rope ladder and have them plummet to their death because he's an evil asshole. He thinks about it, and then he's like, and then they make their plea, and then they're like, all right, I'm just going to put my knife away. Okay. Essentially showing that he's not completely fucking heartless. Well, in the sub anyway, because, the dub of this arc is where Nuance goes to die. I've actually been bitching about that constantly. Which is funny because that's also been one of the problems with the sub as well, where subtlety is just flown out the fucking window because they're they're fucking racing to their conclusion, right? Atem activating the seal of Orichalcos. I still say that there's so many problems with Atem activating the seal of Orichalcos that it's not even funny. So the gang get back to Professor Hawkins' trailer, and they're like, "We got a problem, guys. As Yugi lost," and I admit I prefer Rebecca bitching out at him in the dub as opposed to the sub, because in the sub she's just, give him back, referring to Yugi, right? Give my darling back. In the dub, she literally says, if you were some great pharaoh, you never would have activated that fucking card. You knew it was evil and you still played it? The fuck is wrong with you is effectively what she is saying in the dub, and that works better in my opinion. Which is funny because it's actually the berating that happens in the dub in two separate scenes that actually works better because Raphael and Valen basically chewing out Raphael for not making sure that the pharaoh's soul was taken, because and not knowing that that Yugi was the vessel actually it actually works better for me because they're just like, oh, better luck next time kind of thing. It feels like they're basically saying better luck next time in the sub, as opposed to in the dub where it's like, you fucking idiot, which is true because if you think about it, he could have confirmed that by just looking at the card. He literally pulls it out and is just like, yep, and puts it away and then never looks at it again. My job's done. I don't need to think about it anymore. Not thinking for not thinking for a second. Wait, maybe I should check that card and make sure it's actually the nameless pharaoh. Wait, who the fuck is this kid? So yeah, no, point dub on that one. But outside of those 2 points, that's like literally the only thing left. That's the only thing that the dub has over the sub. Everything else is better than the sub, and I do mean everything, right? So, so Jinochi punches Atem when Atem is starting down this whole "woe is me" crap. I do agree. I do agree that Atem needed to be punched in the face for that because this woe is me crap is not going to get Yugi back. And he's basically just despairing and saying, we never had the power to defeat Doma and all this shit. And it's just like, oh my fucking god, Atem, you lost once. Get over it. And it's not even like this is the first time you've lost a duel in the whole fucking show. Oh, even if we discount Rebecca because you didn't have any hand in that you're telling me, where was this? Where was this lamentation when you lost against Kaiba, right? Oh, that's right. It was all in the fucking dub because the sub was, in my blunt opinion, badly written during Shining Friendship. I don't remember what it was in Japanese, what the name of that episode was in Japanese, but you know. So Rex and Evil are brought before darts. Oh yeah, I actually one more thing. Duke's pessimism in the sub works better than him just saying, "I've been saying that all along." Yeah, that gag in the dub was dumb. That gag in the dub was dumb, and it should have resulted in Honda punching Otogi. Or sorry, Tristan punching Duke, but of course, 4 kids, so that would have been censored. Yeah. So then, like I said, Rex and Weevil are brought before darts, and they both beg, in both versions, the two of them beg Darts to lend power because it's like we need the power to defeat Yugi and Joey because they've been humiliating us for so long, yada yada yada. Which is funny because the only duels that are shown to us are the season 1 duels. You notice that, right? Literally, the Great Moth getting destroyed by Summoned Skull and the time magic destroying Red Eyes. And that's enough for Rex to hate on Joey, apparently, instead of mine, who set him up for that fall in the first place. What? Just. Oh, yeah, that kind of annoyed me. So Darts takes the two blank Seal of Orichalcos cards, and he says, all right, here you go. And then they're like, what the fuck is this? They're blank. And then we're being serious about this. And Darts is just like, yeah, so am I. Pulls out two fragments of the Orichalcos, which I actually think is kind of an interesting idea, because effectively the idea is that each fragment of the Orichalcos tests its wielder. So effectively, every fragment of the Orichalcos needs, effectively, that's how you can control the power of the Orichalcos, right? Right. Is to be tested by it, and then if if the stone deems you worthy, if your darkness is interesting enough to the Orichalcos, in other words, because let's face it, that's what it fucking is. It's an evil magic. I don't care what anybody fucking says. Playing the Seal of Orichalcos makes you evil. The animation has made that clear time and time a fucking again in this whole fucking arc. I know the writer said that the Orichalcos wasn't supposed to make you evil, but the fact of the matter is that the animation team didn't get the fucking memo on that, or the Duel scripters didn't get the fucking memo on that. Like, neither of those two departments got the fucking memo on that. Like, I'm sorry, you can put whatever fucking reasoning you want into the dialogue that you want, but unless the animation shows me that same idea, then I'm sorry, I'm not gonna fucking buy that the Orichalcos doesn't make you evil. Like, I'm sorry. Ugh. Especially considering what we're gonna learn about Darts in the end. Spoilers, this applies to him too. Anyways. Rex and Weevil, they grasp the stones. Holy shit, these two losers actually passed the test? Yep. Rex and Weevil finally get what they've been after all fucking, for the past, what are we up to here? For the past 14 14 and a half episodes, they finally get what they've been after. Rare cards. Well, I suppose it's like I suppose that would be more accurate to say 12 and a half episodes, but you get my point. So yeah. So then Professor Hawkins comes in and says that talks about Atlantis and basically sets up the big info dump we're going to get during I want to say it's part 2 of A Duel with Darts. I obviously haven't rewatched the rest of this yet because I want to actually, because again, that's the whole point of these, to watch the episode and then jot down my notes and then critique, right? The only reason I'm wanting to I'm trying to go through all the Bond films, go through the Bond films before, sitting down and doing videos on them, which I do intend to do. The only reason I haven't, been taking notes as I've been watching the Bond films is because I want to watch the Bond films once through first, right? Because I want to do a ranking based upon, not having gone through, not taking my notes and kind of graded the episodes. Just kind of thinking about, where would I place them, right? So then they get their plan that they need to go to Florida and see if they can get Professor Hawkins's research materials are still there. I don't know how the hell El Doma would leave the damn materials alone in Florida. I mean, is Florida just too shitty even for fucking Doma? I don't know. But yeah. So then the Kaiba scene happens. Let me go ahead and say this as bluntly as I can. It works better with Seto. As I said earlier, Seto would have tipped this into the into the subs camp if this had, if I was, still undecided at this point. No, Seto would have tipped the needle into the subs' favor easily. Because in the dub, he's constantly still saying, look into Pegasus, look into Pegasus, look into Pegasus, right? Pegasus is behind this. Now, Mokuba tries to convince him, like saying, but his soul's apparently been taken. I'm gonna, I would say that's the stupidest way to try and convince Kaiba that Pegasus isn't responsible for something. I mean, don't get me wrong, Mokuba's right in the dub, but is Kaiba going to believe that shit? No, of course not. Hell, even Jinochi understands that. Oh, disregard that last statement. You don't give a shit about occult shit. So, sorry. Never mind. Moving on. Which is still. I do like that that Seto the way Seto's dialogue goes is how much he is just fucking fuming at Doma. He's fucking pissed at Doma. Because Doma is buying up, a good chunk of his company and he's pissed off about it. And so then Mokuba chimes in and basically asks Seto, "Do you have to fight Imelda?" Like, because all he's doing is just trying to avenge his brother, and I can kind of sympathize because if something happened to you, I'd be pissed off too, right? If I was in his, and Dub Mokuba even brings up the same thing. It's like if I was in Alistair's shoes, I would hate this fucking company too. But Seto, which is a good point, because so Mokuba doesn't want Seto to fight him because it's like he's just he's just upset. He's not. Mokuba doesn't believe that Imelda is evil, just pissed off, right? Enraged. He's in a berserker state, essentially. Is Mokuba's point? He has a point on that front, and I get it. Here's the problem. Seto has the perfect counter argument. Doma is basically trying to fuck us over right now. Oh, if we let it continue, Kaiba Land is finished. We are not going to be able to succeed with Kaiba Land if Doma wins. And he's right. If Doma destroys everything, there goes your dream. Your dream is fucked if we let Doma win, Mokuba. We gotta stop them. And if that means I have to take down Imelda, I'm sorry, I gotta take down Imelda. I have to crush Doma, and I might have to go through Imelda to get to Doma, which is true. So then Joey calls Kaiba up. I don't even need my notes for the rest of this. So then Joey calls up Kaiba, and in the dub, Kaiba's rage does kind of. It's funny because Kaiba's rage is the same as Seto's rage, but I think it works better in the sub because for one thing, Joey basically told Kaiba that Yugi lost, and that set him off. But in the sub, Joey's like, oh, we gotta save the other Yugi soul, and they're like, oh, you fucking idiot. And it's like, disregard that. You don't care about occult shit. But that's enough for Seto to realize, you don't mean that Yugi lost, do you? You fucking asshole. I gave you the Duel King title on top of my tower, and then you gave it to some fucking nobody? Fuck you, Yugi. I don't want anything to do with it. It's losers like you. Slam. Who could blame him? Now, what's funny is that the whole disgrace to the game thing is more dickish, admittedly, but he basically says the same thing. Hey, don't talk to me, you were a fucking disgrace, right? Is essentially what he's saying in both versions. Admittedly, I like that. As weird as that probably sounds, because Seto's rage is just like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, right? After all of that, you lost to some fucking rando? Cut me a fucking break. Now, granted, the title wasn't supposed to be on the line, but I guess the unspoken rule is that whoever defeats Yugi immediately gets that title. Which I suppose actually kind of fits when you think about it. Because if you go with the merged idea, when you go with the merged idea, yeah, Yugi loses it to Raphael. Spoilers. Tem gets it back, and then the ceremonial duel happens. Interesting little food for thought. Just a little bit of food for thought. But not the last time I'll be bringing up the ceremonial duel in these videos, though. But that's either going to be 2 or 3 weeks away before I bring that shit up. Because that's it. After that, they're just like, all right, I'll get us. Rebecca's like, I'll book us some flights. We got to take the train to the airport. And so they head off to go board a train, so that they can get to the airport and and try to get to Florida so they can deal with this shit. And that's it. That's Torn Soul. Decent episode. I will admit the sub did bring this one up to whatchamacallit, to C rank. This is a C rank episode for me. Because of the sub. Excuse me, because of the sub. This would be a D rank episode if I was looking at just the dub. Not a bad episode, and a decent breather for the next part of the arc, which, from memory, outside of A New Evil, this is actually my favorite 3-parter in the whole arc. Because it's time. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. It's time to throw Haga off the train. Throw Haga from the train via Berserker Soul. Draw Monster Cardo. See you there, guys. Until next time, Blue Wolf Alex of the Lore Walker signing out. Have a good one. Duel standby. Chiku.